Happy Monday, it's Eric Plantenberg. So it's natural for life to have ebbs and flows. And this Monday morning, you're either feeling on top of the world or you're feeling a little bit bummed out or you're somewhere in the middle. And that's normal. Andrew Weil taught me something, Dr. Andrew Weil taught me something years ago that I thought was so incredibly valuable. He said, most people have unrealistic expectations about how happy they're supposed to be most of the time. If you look around, you see pictures and advertisements and television shows about people that are just happy all of the time, and that's not always realistic, and it certainly isn't representative of what goes on in my life most of the time. Well, a couple weeks ago, I was just feeling a little thin, meaning I was working a lot. I felt like I wasn't as dropped in and as clear and present with my kids and with Michelle as I'd like to be, and wasn't exercising as much as I wanted to be, and I was just feeling a little bit off my game. And it just kind of dawned on me that I hadn't been having any super connected and real conversations, like the really good ones where you're just transparent and you're not editing things, you're just letting it all out there. So my question to you today is, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being completely authentic, completely open and transparent, and a 1 being you're hiding, maybe even lying or deceitful inside of a conversation with somebody. How many people do you have in your life right now that are an 8, 9, or even a 10? When's the last time that you talked to someone, whether it was a coworker or a friend, a family member, or whomever it may be, and you just laid it all out there on the line, and you didn't filter, and you didn't hold anything back, and you just let it rip? Well, this past week, and part of this was somewhat by design, and then a lot of it was accidental. I just felt myself falling into this. I had conversation after conversation with people that I would just put it at a 9 point something, if not a 10. There was one of our business partners that I love and that I really respect, that I had a very candid conversation as to whether or not we're going to continue to partner in the way that we have in the past. A person that I've contracted with for years, another professional example, I looked him in the eye and I said, I just don't want to work with you anymore for X, Y, and Z. A really good friend of mine and I found ourselves in this conversation where I really opened up about some things that were going on in my marriage and some things that I hadn't really communicated to anyone before, at least not in that way. And I found that throughout the week, I was getting more and more momentum, and I was getting energized not only by the conversations, but by just this clarity that was coming from inside of me. I found myself more present. I found myself more able to listen, really engaged. And I think that there's really something to that. When you are okay with yourself, and when you're really landed on who you are, where your heart is at, and how you're navigating in the world, and when you're able to verbalize that to other people, I think magic happens. I think magic happens inside of you. It's very validating and reaffirming that you're okay and that you're doing the best that you can, and it might not always look perfect, but inside of that human experience, you're putting out goodness in the world. And the response that I've been getting back from the flip side of these conversations has been incredibly open. Here's a business partner that I'm saying, we might not be partnering in the way that we have in the past. And his response to that was totally open and totally willing to see where it goes. And in some of the personal conversations that I've been having, the response has just been, it's truly been electric on both sides. So my challenge for you for this week is to really look at the conversations that you're having with people. Look at how vulnerable you're being. Look at how truly authentic and potentially it's risky to put out there some opinions that people might reject or they might be threatened by or they might not know what to do with. But in my experience, it's absolutely worth it. So have some fun, play around with that. And if you're finding many of your conversations are at a 5 or a 6, or you're not really being candid or honest with people, then go for it. The worst thing that can happen is you're going to learn something new and you're gonna stumble forward. I think that falling forward inside of open and vulnerable and honest conversations is a fabulous way to go about it. Any questions on that, please let me know. If you found this valuable, share it with a friend. And above all, have a great week.